So it's Celebrity Friday, and we have a celebrity gist for you. The Nigerian veteran actor Fred Amata has called out his ex-wife, Actor Amata, over some lingering issues. The actor took to his Facebook page where he gave a detailed account of how he made his wife who she is today. He mentioned other issues that he has nursed over the years, including one involving their daughter's recent wedding, where he wasn't involved. He spoke about how he was expecting a reconciliation to have happened. He was still hopeful over the past 20 years, and he mentioned that he titled the Facebook post, "The Good Wife," and how his name had supported the wife, and how he has been rubbished, how he has been embarrassed, and his achievements belittled by the good wife. So we're going to be discussing this. We're going to be discussing from the angle of should Agatha have walked her daughter down the aisle when the father is still alive? We're going to be discussing the idea of coming to social media and saying, I made the show that made her, it's because of me she became who she is today. And generally just discussing how to resolve these issues with relationship in a way that doesn't become messy and a social media conversation. You can join the conversation by calling us on 0810-7641-679, or you can call us on 090-241-63440. You can tweet to us on X using @TVC Connect, hashtag your VTVC, so we can read your tweets, and I'll be taking your chats. I think Nima is also on YouTube to take your chats as well. So here is the conversation. There are many angles to look at this, but let's start with, she walked her daughter down the aisle. How? Why? Right or wrong? How should we look at this?
Maybe just yesterday we say we are not black women, we are African women. Just yesterday on the show, because these are things black women do. You don't get over trauma, maybe at any point in marriage. You don't let go, you don't forgive. You take over the masculine role in the kid's life. You are father, mother, everything. Even though the other parent is not deadbeat, they are alive. You fight with the children as weapon against your partner, and fight with use them again to fight even long after. What breaks my heart is something like this, because now, this is a branch of the family branching out. Your daughter is starting her own family as an extended branch of the family, and your toxin is following her into it. That's why I see it, where you don't want to let go. I've always said it, my marriage is a lot of lessons in my marriage, but I've learned to drop some, build boundaries where need be, and let love lead. Because when it comes to family, my father used to say, you cannot carry the responsibility of answering to God how you broke family. The ties of kinship are Quranic verses enshrined. You must keep that tie of kinship. As a person, if forgiving is what you must do it to ensure that family remains as one. Yeah. If at any point in time, because it's not an easy thing to do, when you need to create boundaries, you create them. But when you're branching out, your in-law is coming in, and your in-law is made to hear the stories and see everything, it's just not healthy. And it shouldn't be. I'm talking particularly because I see this more amongst women. I'm mentoring a young girl whose dad was, at the time when they were little, deadbeat, because he had plenty wives. He was a Muslim, and 4 women are allowed. And he didn't know that, to some kids, being deadbeat was not allowed. Some kids will just go and think it's normal. Some kids will question your absenteeism in their lives. And so the number of times they were hungry and daddy was eating in the other wife's flat, and they walked in and it did not reach them because their mommy did not, they didn't see their mommy have money. Kids would note those things. And so now, my mentee is grown, and she's questioning, why do I have to have money now? I not remember that it was my mom all these years. And I was like, no, do your role to your dad and leave that for them to judge and for God to judge. And it's difficult. But when I see her wear that anger so much, it's enough to scatter whatever exists that is of family ties. And so I keep talking to her to let it go. While talking to her, I'm talking to myself. And so you let it go. You make family work. There's no way in African custom that the families of the father do not give out their daughter. I had a friend when I was growing up. She was my best friend for many years. At her wedding, and I remember her, she used to try to reach her dad. Her dad never wanted to be in her life. But at the wedding, her father's family showed up. her family had reached out, her mother's side had reached out that if she's getting married, though, we are just informing you. And they felt embarrassed that they were just being informed. They were not asking them for any financial contribution. They just said, out of duty, we are informing you that she's getting married. And they stayed their stay. But that side showed up at the wedding, and they were honored. They were honored because you don't want to carry the baggage of what for your in-laws to be seen and be, you know, and be transferring it generations to generation. You let it end at some point. That's maturity. Even though it will cost you no apologies, you find your closure how you find it, but you let it end at some point. God forbid now that the in-law has heard, that the grandchildren too heard. I don't know what he did. I'm not in their marriage. I don't know what both parties did, but I'm talking about continuing in generation with this, whatever has happened. If you read the story, he was talking of several years ago. Their children grew up in it. They are marrying into it. God forbid they're having grandchildren in it. It has to end at some point. That's the way I see it, Sha.
Yeah, I agree. Nima, you are talking from the African point of view because Africans, because I can see in the picture she's marrying a white person. So I don't think he cares. He doesn't, I'm sure he does not even know that they need the father's blessings and all of that. And from what I can see that he didn't have a relationship with his daughter. Because there's no how the daughter will have gone ahead with the wedding without letting him know to come and walk her down the aisle. So there's something that's happened with their relationship. And whether we like it or not, once divorce happens, it's always the children that always suffer it most. And most times the children always tilt towards their mother. That is how it's been working. So now the problem is now, what are we going to do so that the fathers can still go along in this, once divorce happens? How do we make sure that there's still relationship that exists between the mother and the father? What usually happens is that once the divorce happens, the mother and the father, maybe they're not in talking terms anymore. They divorce and it's a messy type. Everybody is annoyed. You know, instead of actually coming that, okay, let's agree, divorce is happening. But that doesn't mean that, because there were good times. Those good times, at least let's look up to those good times. And okay, divorce is happening. Let's, agree at a certain point that we can be in talking terms. We can still be talking. The children can come over, stay with you for some time. The children can go like that, you know. There should be an agreement. Yes, we are not together, but the children should still have that relationship.
Was that because the show was the cash cow, the children should stay with her. She's managing the show and she's the marketing person. She's making money. So
well, it doesn't look like the show present
to fund. Yes, that we will talk about. I share that opinion as well. I even wrote it down.
So from what I saw online, the daughter actually brought the boy, the husband to meet with him. Yes. So there was a meeting. So that means for them to have done that, she accorded respect. She knew that she was supposed to accord that respect and acknowledge her father. And they want to show her husband to the father, right? So there must have been, and I saw the picture. It was a happy picture, family picture and everything. So I want to believe that from the time that meeting happened and the wedding, there was a disconnect somewhere. What it was, I don't know. But something happened because from the pictures that we saw, the man was excited. They were all smiling and laughing in the picture. They took pictures. So we don't know what happened. But then we shouldn't put the burden on the wife. You can't put the burden on who is walking the child down. The child is not stupid. For a child to want to get married, the child is an adult. For you to want to get married, you're considered an adult. That means you know what is right and what is wrong. You knew it was right to go introduce your husband to your father. So you know that, my father is supposed to walk me down the aisle. I don't know what happened. So the burden should be on the daughter, right? We don't know what relationship she has with her dad. What happened that it didn't happen, it wasn't present there, he wasn't told the date, he didn't walk her down the aisle. That is between the father and the daughter. Do you understand? Because first of all, she acknowledged the fact that I have a father. I want to show and introduce this man to my father. If my father is not walking me down the aisle, the burden is on me and my relationship with my father, not the woman.
Okay, so
And if at the wedding, the father was not present, the mom won't have any other choice but to fill in that role. But the burden should not be put on the woman.
Let me take Emmanuel's call. Emmanuel has called to contribute to the show. Emmanuel, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Well done for the good job you're doing. The Agatas are very well-known and respected family. And it breaks our heart to have followed their journey for Fred in the movie, for the lady who's been doing talk shows and all of that.
Agata.
Can I just plead? Yes, Agata Amata, yeah. So the Amatas have been very popular family in the entertainment industry that a lot of people look up to as role models in the professional life and even in the family life, because I think there's another Amata, you know, Fred and Jetta and another one, just like the Peter Eagles. Can I just plead here with the women, you know, whether deadbeat, whether staying father and all of that, when it comes to celebrations for the children, can both parties just put aside their fights and everything and just be there for that 1 minute of their children's happiness? I will say quickly a personal story. I had an auntie who got separated with her husband, and they had 3 children. For every time each of their daughters were wedding, the both of them will be on the high table as husband and wife. When they finish that wedding, or at reception they finish, they go. Everybody, they bone face, they go. But you see on that wedding day, they will dance, they will be happy, they will celebrate. Both families will come and do all of that. Can we drop this deadbeat or dead end or whatever thing and just bring the lives of our children for that 1 minute that they are having their celebration? Because when husband and wife were doing lovey-lovey, these kids didn't ask for it. Let's sort these matters out. Then we can give the blame later. This thing is really doing so. Okay, Nima was saying something now that it leads on to generation and generation and generation.
Yeah.
And it's uncalled for. I know people will not say African culture or abroad culture when the father is not there or not. The woman has that honor. I know a lot of women who have to train their children. And when the father comes back, they tell the children, I have forgiven your father. It's up to you. But you know what? This is still your father. As long as he's alive, I'm not saying forgive him or anything, but let him just be there for you. There are girls or children who their father will die later and they keep regretting 10 years after that. It was I know I forgive my papa, no matter what he do my mama. Because this life is transient. 1 minute you are angry, 1 minute the person you are angry about, and then you feel that remorse and regret that you say to your grave that if I had known, I would have forgiven. Please, let love live.
Thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel. So I'm of the opinion I'm one for forgiveness, personally. And by the grace of God, I find it easy to forgive. Like, it's a gift.
That's a very
I do it because I know that I've been in a place where people have held me in unforgiveness, and I don't take offense easily as well. But I understand that not everybody find it easy to forgive. Not everybody. And there's a common saying, you cannot slap me and say I am crying too much. You cannot slap me and tell me how to cry. So I am here as a woman and I am defending a woman, because in most cases we heap the blame on the woman like it's the mother that is always at fault. The marriage did not work, is the woman. The husband was not at the wedding, is the woman. The children might have made a decision, is the woman. The woman is the one that did not make it work. The woman did not forgive. The woman did not reconcile. I'm like, really? You want to kill the woman? I don't understand the entire drama that happened between Fred and Agatha. But I know for a fact that we put so much blame on a woman and expect that you should forgive. How can you not forgive? Who are you that you cannot forgive? Don't we all offend God and God forgives us? Some people don't find it easy to forgive. We should be telling them, get therapy, work with a pastor. I know for someone that was telling me that he used 1 year to forgive her husband. she used 1 year that she was coming to church and taking communion and saying, I want to truly forgive, because she has said she's forgiving, but she knew in her heart it was still there. And she wanted to really let it go. 1 full year of constantly, every time she was taking Wednesday communion, it was taking the communion and saying, Lord, I've forgiven my husband. And this is someone that she's still married to and yet struggling with forgiveness. So I feel that this forgiveness issue, we just make it look like you just do like this, it's gone. One person can do like this and forgive, and another person can do like this and is still not able to forgive. So I believe we should spend, a lot of people should spend more time and energy on talking about different ways to aid people in forgiving, different ways to, and it's about perspective. Because when you look at how transient life is, like the caller said, you will realize that really, me that I'm not forgiving you, I can die tomorrow and go and face judgments. But we shouldn't judge the unforgiving without giving them tools and supporting them through their journey
so the
of
way I
forgiveness. That's my own. Then I also feel, let me just say something. We'll come back to forgiveness. I want to talk about what Amaka said about building relationship with the children. And that's because I feel that if you are separated, and it's not, they make assumption. You said something that whenever people go through divorce, the children tend to like their mother. It's a lie.
That's true.
There are divorces where the children like their father, stick with their father, see what their mother is doing, and say they prefer their father because the mother's character has shown.
Exactly.
I feel it is important, even if your wife does not talk to you or your husband does not talk to you, build a relationship with your children. Write the letter, send the email, as in like, let there be record to show that you went above and beyond to establish a relationship with your child, regardless of what happens. Because according to Fred's statement was that the ex-wife hid the date of the wedding. Why would they, when you saw the daughter and somebody now hid, is it possible for them to hide date of wedding with somebody you have a relationship with?
Exactly.
You must build a relationship with your children. Yes. Some people are married, but they don't have a relationship with their children. Yes. Some fathers are in the house, but their children are not close to them, that their children will be hiding, and they don't have a relationship with the wife. So I think it's extreme. Like, your children are important. Tradition, and some people don't value tradition. I value tradition. I wanted my husband to prostrate. I wanted my parents to bless my wedding. I wanted both of them there, and thank God they are both married. But some people will say, my parents did not agree, and I will not, my parents did not want my wedding at first. They felt I was marrying a person from out of our culture. They did not want it. But I waited and appealed and begged and prayed and did all it is because I value tradition. Not everybody does. Please, I have a phone call. They have been shouting phone call in my ear. Oh, I'm so sorry we lost the call. Diba, you have the floor.
Okay, so I wanted to address what Ramatu had said earlier. Then I'll come back to forgiveness, because I'm not one to forgive easily. People don't know. I just move on. But I don't forget whatever emotions you will. It is grace that you do something to me and I don't remember it. That hurts me. So I'm someone who is committed fully to relationships. I give my 100%. And so when you give me any percent, trust me, I see them. Who they cry, they see road. Yeah, that's the kind of person I am. But for someone like me to tell you to let things go, I didn't say you should forgive and whatever. You move past it because you can't allow it control you. It's like, I mentioned someone that I said when my baby was about less than 2 years, she had accused him and labeled him, and I was like, till date, anytime I see her, I would tell myself, just let it go. Hell now, put a smile. But every time I see her, label her. It comes there. So imagine that she now does something silly and join. She can predict what I will do. But I will not put that label in front of me. She falls down in front of me.
Of your
if she were
humanity
to fall down in front of me fainting, I will put label her. I'll be human first. Yes. I would have carried her and put that at the extreme back of my mind. If she's a better human being, we can both learn to move past it if she's bigger and knows better. But if she's someone that is repetitive of a pattern, I cannot help myself, we cannot help ourselves, you know? But if she's better, she's trying to do better, I would definitely eventually forget the label, you know? So we are built different. I'm not asking her, forget whatever he did to you. But there's nothing a person can do that some women will let go. I have seen women who say to the children, if you insist your father is here, count me out. If a child is more committed to the mother, the way my kids love me, God forbid I try to separate them and their dad. They will be very confused. It will be easy. Because the love they have for me is a need. The love they have for their father is a love. Daddy, they love him. But they need me. Imagine I wield that power overdue. Because my son would tell me, no. There was a day we were joking. In African languages, when a child says something, you say it's your grandmother they are talking to. You say, no, don't talk about my grandmother like that. Because he knows that at some point, me and the grandmother has had some face-off. When I say, it's not me you're talking to, it's your grandmother. You say, which one? Your mom or my dad's mom? I say, your dad's mom. It's like, you cannot talk about my grandmother like that. So
they see.
The children see.
Yeah, they see, yeah.
But if he gets to a point, he will always choose his mom. And so you, who know that you wield that power, must wield it responsibly.
Yeah.
In a marriage, you cannot tell the child, go and inform your father as of duty. But if you know your father is coming to that wedding...
Well, let's not...
Hold on.
Let me take this call. I'll come back to you. But I know that I've seen that happen.
I can give you off the...
But what if she doesn't? What if it's the children that are saying, you have been a father and mother to me. I want you to be the one that walks me down.
If I tell my child, even though my husband has offended me, that it's important that your daddy sits because he's your daddy. It will happen.
Of course.
Let me take this power
that is within power.
Don't underestimate the power.
We have a caller that's called in from Ekpaja. Welcome to the show. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Nima, thank you. God bless you. I have a friend. She got pregnant when they were in secondary school. He's a rich boy and all that. The mother and dad encouraged all his excesses. Later in year, the mother, in his teens, by the time he finished secondary school, the mother had died. So it was the grandmother or the lady that he got pregnant that took care of the girl. I got to know them when we started working together. When she sees the grandma as mommy and see her mother as auntie. But the mother, when she clocked 18, the grandmother now sat her down and set her straight. He said, you are my fourth grandchild. This is your mother. Your father is in Ijebu. We know where he is. If you want to go and share yourself with him, but concerning that, you won't have my consent until you finish your university education. You can take care of it. To cut the long story short, on the girl's wedding day, the guy came with his family. Somebody that doesn't know how that girl was trained and got to where she was. And for that wedding, she had to keep him for everything. To the extent of people taking care of where he lives. And on the wedding day, he sat there during the engagement and everything. But that does not mean that my friends are forgiving him. But she does not want, like the grandmother said, they said, I don't want history repeating itself in this girl's life. Let her have her respect and honor in her husband's house. So, your own problem is with him and his family. She is starting a new life. Let us start on a plain ground and not that carrying overload.
Thank you so much.
So whatever that thing is, what Agatha did is wrong. Let it just come and sit there and see his shame for not doing it. The guy was not really free. It was just his family that was singing for him. And we all knew. But for that load to be lifted out of that girl's life, that has to be done.
Yeah. You can't move on without forgiveness. Thank you so much.
What I would just say is that never underestimate the power of a mother. That is one thing we should never take for granted.
She could have convinced her.
She could have been able to convince the daughter to go and tell the dad or to make the dad come, and in fact, she was even supposed to, like I said, they should have had a relationship. She should have been able to, just a cordial kind of relationship between the mother and the father. She should have been able to tell the daughter to go tell her dad, this is the date, and the dad should be able to come and walk her down the aisle. I like the part where you said something about forgiveness. Forgiveness is really something people need to work on, as in, we need people to talk about forgiveness. People should learn how to forgive deeply, because a lot of people forgive, but they don't let it go, just like what Nima said. They don't let things go, and that affects a lot of things in relationships and all.